Today, I'm going to answer the age-old question of which is better, laced or laceless? Hello and welcome to SubStanceFtbl. My name is Sub, and in this video we'll be tackling two commonly asked questions. First of all being which is better between laced and laceless football boots, and secondly, can I use my laced football boots without laces? Now before we get into the video, be sure to support the video with a like, and if you're interested in anything football gear related, so that could be boots, kits, any other accessories, be sure to support the channel and subscribe to the channel, and make sure to turn on bell notifications so you know when I post a new video. So without further ado, let's get into the first question. Now, the way brands make it seem is as if they want you to think that laceless boots are better. They do this in many different ways. So for example, one of them being the most obvious, the price. You'd find with brands like Adidas and Puma, when they do the one-off laceless boot, that the laceless boot sells for a higher price than the laced version. Now, to actually see if laceless boots are better than laced boots, we need to talk about maybe the advantages that laceless boots have over laced boots. Now, when it comes to laceless boots, I wouldn't say there's many clear advantages to them as opposed to boots with laces. So one of them being that you definitely get, from my time of using them, or my experience anyway, you definitely get a cleaner connection when striking a ball, whether it's passing, shooting, dribbler. You get a much cleaner, kind of wholesome connection with the ball, and that can help you psychologically, sometimes with certain players, but in terms of performance wise, it's not going to make you a better player in any way, shape or form. But I know if it helps you psychologically, I guess you can call that a benefit. The other benefit, I guess, is that the boots are slightly lighter, but really and truly, if you bring me the laceless version of a boot and the laced version, you're not going to tell much. You're not going to feel much, should I say, in terms of difference in weight. So it's pretty much null and void at that point. But really, the only clear advantage of a laceless boot as opposed to a laced boot, from what we've seen on the market so far with Adidas and Puma, even though they weren't the first brands to do it, from what we've seen is that only getting a cleaner connection with the ball is the only clear advantage of using laceless boots as opposed to laced football boots. Now, one of the big downfalls of laceless boots as opposed to their laced variations is the lockdown. So for those who don't know what it means, lockdown is basically how secure your foot is in your boot. So good lockdown means your foot shouldn't move around to your boot. It's almost like your bottom of your foot is actually glued to the boot itself. That's how good lockdown should feel, in my opinion. And you don't necessarily get the same amount of lockdown with a laceless boot as you do with the laced variation because of the lack of laces. Laces help you keep your foot secure inside the boot. Now you have that missing in the laceless variation. So what I found, especially with like this boot especially, is like when I don't not wear grip socks with this boot, my foot tends to move a bit and the lockdown isn't as great as it is with the laced variation. Now this is a Adidas X19 Plus, so this model is about almost 3 years old now as such, so maybe it's a bit outdated in terms of that, and maybe the more up-to-date versions are the lockdowns improved. But from my experience of using laceless boots, they have worse lockdown than laced variations. And then you see with a lot of players as well, not all, but you see with some players, they prefer the laced variation as opposed to the laceless one. So the likes of Messi, I'm just talking about the X Speedflow here, I'm just talking about, or the X Speedport, or whatever the latest variation is when you watch this video of the X. Players like Messi, Gareth Bale, Benzema, they prefer the laced variation as opposed to the laceless one. Now, if you're going to ask me which I prefer between laced and laceless football boots, I'm always going to pick the laced variation, and I'll tell you why. And that all has to do with lockdown. Imagine football boots are like a circuit, for example. So without aspects of a circuit, so let's say a battery, the circuit's not going to work. Let's pretend the battery in this case is the lockdown of a football boot. So if I don't have a good enough lockdown, my boots won't feel as responsive, they're not going to feel as comfortable, I'm not going to get the full benefits or the full performance out of my football boots without good lockdown. And unfortunately, that's literally all where the boot falls short. In terms of other benefits of football boots and the way they perform, as opposed with the laced variation, they perform very similarly, but it's just cleaner connection as opposed to lockdown. It depends on the person, but for me, lockdown is more important than like having that kind of clean strike. You know, pretty much all of us have used football boots with laces, and then we've not necessarily had this kind of revelation when using a laceless boot. It's not something revolutionary that you need to pay the extra £20 for to wear. You know, I know that's another thing, I guess, that kind of brings it down here, is like it's pretty much the exact same boot, except you're going to get a bit more of the upper material on the laceless variation as opposed to on the laced variation. Yeah, so for me, I'm always going to go with a laced variation as opposed to a laceless. Now on to the second question: can I use my laced full boots without laces? And in short, the answer is no. Or at least I recommend you wouldn't. And again, it kind of relates back to the first question, and it all has to do with lockdown. If your boots are made with laces, they are there for a reason. They're there to secure your foot in your boot and improve the lockdown of your boots. The minute you take out your laces and wear them laceless, maybe they're a bit too tight or whatever, it's a bit more comfortable like this, but you're going to lose out on lockdown. So you're not going to get the full benefits out of your football boots. Maybe the easiest way to actually combat this was maybe to use grip socks, but then again, not everyone has the money for grip socks as such. So why, you know, have the hassle of like having to choose between grip socks or not, when you can just use your boots with laces like they're intended to. Now, just to summarize everything I've said in this video, if it's up to me, I'm going to pick the laced variation as opposed to the laceless variation of a football boot, and that's for two main reasons. The laced variation is usually cheaper, and number two, the benefits of the laced variation outweigh the benefits of the laceless variation. So for me, lockdown is more important than having that kind of extra clean connection with the ball. And number two, you should not use your laceable boots laceless, because it's going to worsen the lockdown and you're not going to get the full performance benefits of your football boots. And yeah, that's pretty much been it. If you thought the video was sublime, like the video. If you thought it was subpar, still like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to follow me on all my socials. I'm on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, that's been it. My name is Sub. This has been SubStanceFtbl. Thank you for watching. Peace out.